awesome. I'll start again by thanking everybody for coming to the candidate forum here tonight for the town of Bassano. My name is Stephanie. I'll be your moderator this evening. I would like to first thank the Town of Bassano Administrative Office for setting this all up in order for us to have this public forum. And I'd like to thank Sydney Smith for recording this so that people who don't want to come out this evening, for whatever the reasons are able to watch this at home. I'd like to thank Amanda for being the timer for tonight's evening for questions. That will notify the candidates when their time is running out on their answers to their questions. I ask you to turn your cell phones at least to vibrate so that there are no interruptions during the candidates speaking. I'd really like to just say that, this is a peaceful forum tonight. Any type of disrespect is not going to be tolerated here this evening. We're here to listen to what the candidates have to say, and questions may be answered after. We're just going to look at the time and see how that goes for this evening. I have 5 questions that I'm going to be asking each candidate. They have 2 minutes to actually answer their question. And again, Amanda will just give them a reminder. If you look over there, candidates, there'll be a card up there, so keep your eye out over there. We'll be doing that. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our candidates. Over on this side, we have Irvin Morey. He is a current councillor with the town of Bassano. Bentley Barnes, candidate running for council. Mike Wetzstein, running for council. Tim Gourlay, running for council. Sydney Miller, she's also running for council. Lynn Royea, running for council. Current councillor John Slomp, and current councillor Kevin Jones. So I'm going to move over onto this side. Pardon me for facing my back to you, but I want to direct my questions to the council, to the candidates, and give them the opportunity to use the podium for their answers. You just bear with me a minute, I'm going to move over. Welcome, candidates. I'll start with you, Mr. Morey. In this case, you're already a councillor. So my question to you would be, why are you running again for council?
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason I'm running again is I ran in a by-election 2 years ago and got voted in, and after 2 years, seeing some, I believe, very fruitful work, and things are just beginning to turn and be on the cusp of good things happening. So I want to see those things through. So another 4 years, I'm quite willing to go into another 4 years to do that. I've lived here for 20 years. A lot of people don't know me. I worked for the EID for 31 years. Mostly out and about, but I've lived here for 20 years, lived in the county since 1982. Like I said, just want to see things through. We have lots of good things going on. Close to 40 homes being sold here just in the last 4 months. That's not counting commercial and industrial lots and new businesses, like 10 new businesses in the last 3 years, and expansions of some others. Municipal development plan, a brand new land use bylaw we just ratified last night. It's beautified Bassano, and I can go on and on, but that's the main reason I want to run again. I want to see things through, and I want to give back to the community. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Morey. Mr. Barnes, it's your turn to answer the same question. Why are you running for council?
It's great to see everybody out. It shows there's a lot of concern in our community, and basically that's why I'm here. I'm very concerned with the money being spent. I've been here 30 years now, and this last year we spent more money than we have in the 30 years combined. I'm not as confident as everybody else that everything is gonna balance out the way it's supposed to. Yeah, my concerns are there. Also, we need to have new voices brought to the table. Some of the people were on council for quite a while. And I think it's time to have a look at some different people. Like a lot of things with money, it's not really how much you have, but it's what you do with it. Like people complain about the price of water and, you know, the roads and what. And a lot of times, yeah, it's just about how you prioritize what you want to do and what you want to have. And right now we're spending money on, like the water tower comes to mind, like that's $48,000.
We just want to try to keep it right now.
That's not disrespectful, that's the facts, right? Okay. No, obviously there's something with that because you brought that up. But I never mentioned anybody's name or anything, just the fact that $48,000 were spent and sold for $16,000.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. Okay, you're up. Mr. Wetzstein?
Okay, there's a whole lot more people than the last time I did this. I've been in Bassano for 23 years now. I've been on the fire department for 10. Been pretty actively involved in the community through the fire department. I've met a lot of people only through the fire department. I did run in the last by-election. I lost to Mr. Morey by 1 vote. It's a very humbling experience, I have to say, but we didn't have this many people. I decided to run again because I've seen a lot of changes out of Bassano in the last 23 years I've been here. A lot of them have been positive, unfortunately some of them not. And I decided that, again, same as last time I ran, I want to be a part of that change, and I think I can bring a lot to make it a better change than maybe some of the things that we've seen. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Wetzstein. Mr. Gourlay?
Same sort of idea of everybody else. You know, I've been here 35 years, and the reason I moved to this town because it was a neat little town. We had 2 grocery stores, you know, we had a hardware store, we had a saddle place, you know, everything else. Kay Schaefer said all this. She kind of took away my speech, if you would, you know, in the newspaper. But that's what I was looking at. I was, you know, as Irv was saying and stuff like that, things beginning to roll, you know, like things are coming back to town, houses are selling, because this house, nothing happened for 10 years in this town. That's one of the reasons I wanted to come. I want to, you know, as far as I'm concerned, the town needs a bit of a kickstart. You know, and maybe I'm, you know, I can help do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gourlay. Sydney, why are you running for council?
Hi, I've been here a lot less years than others. We moved here in 2015, so not even a decade yet. But I was raised to be very active in my community. I was raised to be involved, to care, and that's why I'm here. I want to help this town thrive. I've put down roots and I want to see the tree flourish. I just want to be a part of the change. I want to make sure it's positive change and to see the town thrive so that one day when my son is grown, he can't imagine raising his family anywhere else.
Thank you, Sydney. Lynn.
Hi, so I was born and raised in this town or in the area, and I remember in the late 80s, early 90s, Bassano was kind of a destination for me and my family. We'd come here, we'd do laundry, eat at a dairy bar, go with clothes, pick out a movie. I miss those days. Like, I come to town now, well, I'm in town, but, you know, I come downtown and there's not much left. I kind of miss that. I want to kickstart that and revitalize the downtown and make it what it used to be. Instead of abandoned buildings and everything, I would love to see downtown vibrant and happy again. I want this place to be what people brag about when they say, I live in Bassano. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. John?
We've lived in Bassano for 33 years, and from the time we got here, we loved it. But there have been a lot of changes over time, and some have been positive, some not so positive. But I think I want to run because we are developing a momentum. Lynn was talking about the downtown area, but we are developing it as a business innovation district, and we're making a lot of changes to try to make it more attractive for people to come, because we're trying to set it up more as a live-work situation so people can live and work in the downtown, and to try to make it more vibrant. And we want to get at fixing the roads too. I know there's been a lot of talk in the last while about the roads being rough. Well, part of the reason for that was 10 years ago, the government mandated that we update the lagoon. And we could not, so it took 10 years for us to get all the approvals together to update the lagoon. And we did not want to spend a whole bunch of money on roads when we didn't know what we had to spend on the lagoon. So now that the lagoon is basically done, we have money in reserves, so we can start working on, and like our priority is 2nd Avenue and 5th Avenue, and we can get started on that. And then there are other, in our plan, we want to fix up in the next few years the entrance into Bassano too, the road coming in, so that when visitors come, I guess I'm done.
Thank you, John. John?
So the question is, why do I want to run?
Why are you wanting
Yes.
to continue running?
Well, this would be my 3rd term if I get in. And in those first 2 terms, we've been working quite hard, especially in the last term, in reinvigorating the town. And it's been working. We've been getting more inquiries, we've been getting more businesses coming into town. The houses have been selling. I don't think that's anything to do with what we've done, but we're glad to see it happening. I would like to see this off to completion. So that's the main reason I'm staying. It's kind of exciting actually, but if council meeting could have been called exciting. So I would like to stay and complete the work that's being done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, question number 2. Help us understand the type of leader you will be by describing your 2 highest priorities for change in our municipality in the short term and the long term, and why? I'm sorry.
Okay, so there's been questions about water. I can tell you right here, I downloaded this in 10 minutes. I've had people say, oh, I've looked at different places and it's hard to get information. I found this in 10 minutes. It's an Alberta Municipal Residential Utility Rate Comparison. It compares the water rates, sewage, garbage, recycling in every municipality in Alberta. We are in the lowest 25% of them. All of them. You go through there's some crazy ones that do this. Some people are paying $5 to $6 a cubic meter, and on top of that paying for just crazy things. Purified Bassano. Municipal Development Plan. The Land Use Bylaw. I mean, Recreation Master Leisure Plan, all coming out. I hear people talking about needing a kickstart. This is the kickstart. This is what we've been doing for 4 years. I've been doing it for 2 years. But it's what's been happening, and as far as priorities go, they're all a priority. There's no single priority. They're all priorities. It's to make the town better. And we're not going to make it better by whining and complaining about it, and people whine and complain, and we don't see any of the whiners and complainers coming to any council meetings. None, zero. And with COVID coming on and been on, it's never been easier to attend a meeting, ever. You can sit behind your phone, you can sit behind your laptop, your iPad, whatever you want. You can, and it's all there, it's virtual. Everybody can see it. I have a hard time with people complaining about things when they don't even try to do anything about it other than bitch and complain on Facebook. Thank you.
Thank you. So I know this is a kind of in-depth question, just to describe your two highest priorities for change in our municipality in the short and long term.
Well, first off, I'd like to say that, we have to take care of what we have, right? There's a lot of things, and a lot of things are out of our hands, with the provincial governments and whatnot. But that's where, we have to put our foot down and make sure we make the right choices there as well, so that we do have support to keep our hospital and things like that. As far as the water goes, we are still one of the cheapest. It's getting more expensive, and it's going to become more rare too. So we're going to have to make decisions, right? But what I'm talking about is where you spend the money, how you spend the money. And I'm not that happy with how that's happening. Now, if that hurts anybody's feelings for me saying that, if it's considered bitching and complaining, I'm standing here right now, right? Here facing all of you, face to face. That's the way I like to do things. Okay? Now, the other thing, can anybody answer this question? How many businesses do we have downtown on the main drag? Sorry, I can't breathe, it's a damn thing. 555 million trillion, because we got a post office. Things have changed, people. You have to be aware of that. Amazon rules the world. Well, what did they say when Walmart and that showed up? There isn't a downtown in this country that hasn't had their ass kicked. Period. So you have to think, and you have to think hard at where you spend your money.
Thank you, Bentley. Mike, would you like me to repeat the question? Okay, so to help us understand the type of leader you would be, by describing your two highest priorities for change in our municipality in the short term and the long term.
Biggest change I'd like to see in short term is, it's not so much a change, it's stuff that's been in the works, but it's really a big one to me is our business space. We see a lot of people, myself included, that don't work in town. I have no choice, I work out of town, there's no job for me here. I'd like to see more business space coming. It is harder. I'd like to see a council that reaches out past Bassano to try and attract further business, however necessary that is, whether it's tax reductions or tax breaks or however is necessary. I think there's a lot of potential for a council to reach out beyond the county to try and attract business, and I'd like to see that. Maybe some of it is happening behind the scenes, but it isn't making it to the people in town that they know that is actually happening. I think that's a big short term. It's also a long term. Long term, I'd like to see Bassano thrive again. I'd like to see it grow. I've seen such a decline in the business and some of the population since I've been here. People don't stay anymore. They're here for a bit and they leave. Their kids grow up and the kids leave. And I don't think that's something that thrives a town. It becomes a ghost town after a while. We can't maintain this retirement community. After a while, we have to grow. We have to keep the generations here in order to keep the town going. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Tim? Would you like me to repeat?
Sure, why not?
So I know it's a big long one. Help us to understand the type of leader you will be by describing your two highest priorities for change in our municipality in the short term and the long term.
I'd like to be like a more open, I would be an open leader, okay, right? People can stop me on the street, ask me questions, the whole works. What I would also like to see, some of the big things like people are saying whatever, it doesn't matter, different buildings coming down, everything else. I'd like to see for major projects, maybe have a vote on that, you know, or something. I don't care if it's on Facebook or if it's people right into the town or they phone Christine at the office and they say yes or no. I'd like to see kind of like that kind of thing, like rather than just 5 people making decisions, maybe if they're on a larger scale. Okay, people have brought that up, but I'm not going to go into that kind of stuff. Longer terms, and Mike was just talking about, you know, kids and stuff. I was out walking the dogs the other day, and I was actually quite happy. I saw kids, brats in battalions, if you will, walking down the street, right? I went, cool, it's kind of coming back. I haven't seen that, you know, for 10 years. And I thought that was kind of cool myself, but yes, I do agree with everybody. We need to bring people into the town again, you know, make it more acceptable. There's stuff that are happening. I'd like to see help bring it back through the town here and stuff like that. I remember when we used to have the rodeo time, you know, when the rodeo used to go on before they had the beer gardens and stuff, people used to go to the old community hall and they'd walk back and forth to the bar. Both places had bands. People had beers in their hand, walking back and forth. It was a good time, okay? I think most people were here when we did that. So I'd like to see that kind of stuff again, you know? Fun, you know? And when the RCMP were here, myself, when I used to drink, I used to get rides home from the cops, from the bar, so it works. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Please help us understand the type of leader you will be by describing your 2 highest priorities for change in our municipality in the short term and long term.
All right, so I'd like to revitalize business. I'd like to be able to shop local. I'd like to be able to work local. I want the money that I make to be earned here. I want the money that I earn to be spent here. And then also, I want a sense of community to really bind us all together. I'm new to this town. And it can be hard to make friends. Bringing back some more community events, doing more community involvement, getting people out of their homes, getting them into the community, that's the way to do it. That's the way to create friends from neighbors. And that's the way to have it where you can walk down the street and talk to people and you realize this town is thriving. That's what I would like to see. I'd like to be part of making that happen.
Thank you, Cindy. Lynn.
Go for it.
Help us to understand the type of leader you will be by describing your 2 highest priorities for change in our municipality in the short term and long term.
Okay, Mike stole my answer, but touching on that, I would like to see incentives for bringing business into town. I don't know if it would be like a tax break, you get your first year free, half price, something like that. But yeah, just touching on that would be awesome, I think, and I think it would bring a lot of more different type of businesses into town. Secondly, the short-term one, it seems that there's a little bit of a rift between town council and the constituents here in town. I've noticed it on Facebook, those people going, oh, the town council. I think I would like to see town council be more actively engaged with the community. I'm not sure if it would just be on social media or if there would be like little meet and greets here and there, but I think that would be a little better way to connect us if you get on town council with the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Ron?
I think in the short term, I think what we want to do is make especially our main thoroughfares better, fix them up, and that is in the plans. So we want to continue with that, and in our plans too, we've been talking, of course it's not set in stone, but eliminating sidewalks that have a combination bicycle walking lane, like a paved wider lane rather than sidewalks with curbs. And so whenever we redo a street, we take out the sidewalks and put in a biking, walking lane. And I'd like to see more development and stuff at the highway and downtown. And in the long term, just basically a more vibrant community and get all these things that we're working on to fruition and have downtown with a bunch of businesses where the owners live up above and they work down below, and like it used to be 75 or 100 years ago in a lot of these communities, like have the downtown like that, like, and more of a pedestrian area, and possibly even have the immediate downtown core be walk only, and like no vehicles allowed kind of thing. But that would be down the road quite a ways, but I think that would be really neat for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
It's okay. Okay, long term, and unfortunately it's been long term for many years. We would like to see a new hospital in town and a new lodge. I think those are, it's important to look after our older people, and by doing that, showing that the town cares. For short term, John kind of picked what I was going to say. We need to do some work downtown. We have some really old buildings. If you ever been and looked at some of the plaques we've put up there, or the historical committee have put up, showing the age of the building and who's owned it. We need to take the downtown, take cars out of the place, widen the pathways, and put, well, on the north side, put some trees up to give shade, and on the north side, just make it wider. Have people have work, or the people that own the houses or own the businesses there, be able to do some of the work on the outside. So, anyway, I have some ideas, and I would like to see them presented to council. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Number 3. How do you envision communicating with constituents? And how do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process of the town?
To me, that one's pretty short and pretty easy. Again, attend council meetings. It's so easy, especially now, virtually, we're doing them all. When the surveys come out, when we put out a survey wanting to know how you feel about this or that, and other thing, different bylaws, our feedback is, I'll just say minimal. It's out there, come and get it. Any information that you want to know about the town of Bassano, how much money they have, how much money they have in reserves, how much money did they spend on the lagoon, how much money is going to be allocated for 5th Avenue or 2nd Avenue, or any information you want. It's there. All you have to do is go and look for it. It's not that hard. All you people are pretty familiar with your phones and your laptops and your iPads. It's all there. And communication, this is communication. And it's not hard to do these. I mean, we do have these kind of things. I'm impressed how many people are here. I'm very happy about it. I'm glad to see that. Again, communication is a two-way street. You can't rely on council to come out and go knocking on doors and knocking on everybody's door just because they got elected on council. It's also your job to get to know your council member. And by doing that, it's like here, telephone. I've been very open. I have said I will not discuss things on social media. If you want to send me an email, if you want to write me a letter, if you want to phone me, I'm open for that. It's all that information is available, again, on the town website. It's there, so thank you.
Thank you.
I guess what I do, I guess I'm always kind of around town, numbers in the book. I don't have one of those fancy phones. And I don't plan on getting one. I have reached out to councillors before, and one was in regard to the survey and basically got the cold shoulder, like, oh, that's just the way it is. I can't even remember the exact words. Well, he came here, he saw opportunity, you know. And I mean, there's a lot of businesses in town that are struggling, but not all of them make the front page news or get on a survey. And I mean, sometimes my favorite is rant and rave. I mean, it's disgusting sometimes. I had to go with Sandy, I think her name is right. It was a weekend where my daughter was really sick and I missed the weekend and I wasn't able to fill the shelf the way I'd want to, and she come down on me really hard, and finally I had enough, and you know, I told her, and then she went on the rant and rave. Of course, it's only one person's side, right? So I got a little upset. I regret it now. I shut my Facebook, all that stuff off. I learned my lesson from there. And the only really thing that was sad was Sandy didn't keep her promise. She said she wasn't going to come back, but she has. You know, and it's kind of a shame. Like, I will talk to everybody. I'm an opinionated person. I'm not afraid to have one. And that's why I'm here sharing it with you. I gave you the opportunity to vote for me. I won't let you down. I'll always be honest. And I will represent everybody. Listen to everybody. That's all I can say, really, you know. We're all on the same team, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Mike.
So far, I think actually this last little bit, I noticed the town has actually really improved communication from what I've seen in the past. The town has their own Facebook page going. The bulletin board page has been actually, I think, really moving forward into using social media to access people. We do have some seniors, some people that prefer, whether they're senior or not, that don't use social media. And I think those people, it's a little harder for them to reach, but I think social media is such a great thing to get out to people. You can reach so many people so easily. I would like to see maybe the town sign used. It does get used. It's hard to notice though. I drive past it every day, twice a day. I don't notice most things that are on there, unfortunately. So I think the town really needs to be pushing to make sure that they're reaching the most. Council meetings, it doesn't always work for everybody. Kids have hockey, they get home from work, they want to eat supper. I'm as guilty as the next. I've been to very few council meetings. It doesn't work most times for my timeline. I have to choose to either go to the council meeting or eat supper or take my kids. So social media to me is a big one. I'm also, personally, I'm very open. My phone number's out there. I've given it to pretty much everybody who has access to my Facebook page. My phone number's there, my address is there. Stop by and knock on my door. If my car's there, my truck's there, I'm home. I'm open to anything. And I'm open to discuss anything with anybody who happens to stop me on the street or give me a phone call. And I think that's the way that council should be. You need to be able to discuss things with everybody if they have a question. And I think that is getting better, and I'd like to see it keep going on that direction.
Thank you, Mike. Tim, how do you envision communicating with constituents, and how do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process?
I think I have to have the second question when I said, you know, I'd like everybody to put a lot of things to a vote, if you would, right? And I know a lot of people and stuff like that. Everybody knows me in this thing. I drive into town and when coming home from work from Siksika, I do work out of Siksika. I'm the only person of Caucasian, so you know, that works out at Siksika, like in the public works department. But yeah, I come into town, it's like a parade. I wave at everybody. So rather than just waving at me, stop me on this, you know, stop me, ask me questions. So by all means, everybody knows my phone number, everybody knows where I live. Okay. I got rid of my little dog's gone, so I just have the nice dog now. So you know, come through the back gate. It's always open. Okay, anytime. Ask me a question. Everybody's always asking questions, so we just turn around the questions this time. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
While social media is great, and it is truly a great resource, face-to-face I prefer. It's hard to judge somebody's tone, somebody's intent with just a written word. But face-to-face, you get all of what they're trying to communicate. And so I really have seen a lot of improvement through social media, through a lot of the virtual meetings. And but I also struggle to make it to town meetings. I have a toddler, his bedtime is 7. I'm missing it tonight, and it's something that in person can be difficult, so social media is required, phone is required, email required. All of those things are really great, but I'm also out walking around a lot in the community. Even in the winter, I like to be outside a lot, and if you see me walking by, run out, talk to me. I have no problem stopping unless my toddler's in the middle of a temper tantrum. Then I might say, give me your phone number, I'll call you when things have calmed down. That kind of thing. But basically any avenue that you guys want, I will make it work for me.
Thank you, Cindy. Lynn.
I'm going to trip over that table leg and it's not going to be fun. Okay, so social media is the most powerful tool that we have at our access right now. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat perhaps. I'm maybe a little too old for that, but regardless, all of those things you can reach the entire town in the click of a button. I love social media myself. I'm kind of a junkie. I post regularly. I run 2 studios, so I'm on it all the time. But yes, face-to-face is also a good idea. Go to town council meetings. If you can ask questions, if it's an open meeting, then yes, ask your questions there. I am easily approachable. I'm not scary, even though some people think I am. I am more than willing to answer any question out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. John.
I don't like to communicate via social media either because there's too much varied opinions out there, but I retired back in June, so I'm around town a whole lot more and a lot more available than I used to be. So, like if I'm walking around and somebody's got a question and they see me, just stop and talk to me because I've got lots of time, or call me at home or whatever. I've got a lot of time to talk and discuss and whatever. It's there and available, so thank you.
Thank you, John.
Okay, the town has an internet connection, and all the information is put on that connection. So if we have a meeting, we have all the minutes of the meetings are put on the internet. All these things are available, and we hope they're getting used. I have no idea if it is. People, I don't have Facebook, is it? I don't have that particular program on my machine, I don't think. But I've been thinking maybe it's a good thing to get. If people want to ask me questions, I'm generally available most of the day. You can phone me in the telephone book if it's don't have telephone books. Anyway, I'm available. Please come to the meetings that we have. We used to have coffee and cookies available. No cookies now. but yeah, communications is very important, because the wrong thing can be posted around town, and we please read our minutes of our meetings, and it's important to get the truth out. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. And this is a tough one, I think. Serve. What are the biggest fiscal challenges in our community, and what do you envision as the best way to address them?
Fiscal challenges. Well, nobody likes paying taxes. They're a necessity. Nobody likes to pay for their water at exorbitant rates. It's a necessity. I mean, things have to pay for themselves. Our water rates are they're funded so that everything gets paid for. They're not subsidized through your taxation. I don't think anybody wants to raise your taxes to pay for your water. I mean, that just means everybody's paying. Everybody that's not using much water is paying for somebody that's using more water. I think our tax rates are good. Honestly, I do. And I think our water rates are good too. Honestly, I mean, I pay lots for my water, but I'm the one that prefers. I tend to water my trees, water my grass, water my flowers. My wife has a garden. I use lots of that. I don't know as far as what to say. Challenging. The challenge would be, other than you need it. You need that money to pay for things. You need businesses to pay for things. If there's a challenge, just getting people to realize that some of these things are necessary. As your water it's got to be treated more like your natural gas or your gasoline in your car or whatever. You can't live without any of them. That's really comes right down to it. So, I don't know. I'm not sure. That is a tough one.
Sorry about that. But thank you for answering. Bentley.
Well, again, I think a lot of it is how you look at things. I looked at Okotoks' water plant, and they have a 3-stage system for amount used, right? Like a lesser amount is less than what we pay. Then the next amount, immediate rate, is what we pay. And then for the heavy users, they pay a little bit more, right? And that to me makes sense in a lot of ways too, right? For those that can serve, those that are on fixed and lesser incomes, right, can still afford to have their, basic needs taken care of, right, at a reasonable rate. And that's kind of what I'm preaching is there's more than one way to do things, right? And I mean, how do you answer that question or ask that question when you have a question about the monies being spent? Like we've had all these questions, like social media, well, no, that didn't work. I went to the town, that didn't work. So I'm standing here tonight, is it going to work? I don't know, right? But I'm giving it a shot, right? And yeah, it's me, I hung up the signs. That's me. Hold on that. I'm not happy about what happened there last week. I'm not happy about the sidewalk. That's not how you do things. And I don't know where you go to ask that question. So maybe that answers all of my questions tonight, doesn't it? So where do you go? Now, for Cindy to come and to make friends on town council, I don't know. I'm really excited to see you coming forward as a new person, and that's exactly what this town needs. We do need to rely on our seniors and the people that have been here, but we do need the new blood, we do need new ideas, and we have to be open to listen to what everybody has to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Can I have it one more time? Sure. I want to stay on.
No, not a problem. What are the biggest fiscal challenges in our municipality, and what do you envision as the best way to address them?
I believe that some of the biggest fiscal challenges is really trying to keep everybody happy. That's our biggest thing, right? How do we do it? We can't. Realistically, we can't. But it's hard. It is a challenge because you're trying to keep as many people happy as you can. I don't have all the answers. Nobody has all the answers. The key point to me is making sure that we find the answers and we do the best that we can to keep ourselves accountable, to make sure that we are doing the best we can for the majority. We will never keep people happy. That's the biggest challenge. I would like to see more openness with things, though, whether it be a little more public opinion on major spending, capital spending, redesigning of downtown. Maybe we should look at people's opinions on that. You know, rather than 5 people deciding what we do with certain things, I think we need to open up to the town more, whether it be more surveys sent in the water bill, no matter how little response you get. If you can at least make the attempt, at least you've given people a chance. Whether it be a survey on the town website, on the Facebook post, whatever. That's the biggest thing to me, is being open. Find the answers. If somebody has a question, you need to get them the answer. It may not be the answer they want, but you have to be able to at least explain yourself. You have to justify yourself. And I think that's the biggest challenge ahead. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike.
I honestly can't answer about what the fiscal challenges are for the town. I've never dealt with that, okay? When I worked for the town, I was the guy that spent money, okay? I always had the thing, you're spending too much money. I made water too bad, so that's what I used to say. But I have dealt quite a few times on with capital projects, grants, everything else. I have to deal with the federal government at times, and it was mentioned that it took 10 years to get the lagoon happening, okay? And everything else what Kevin was talking earlier about, okay, right? I do understand how many hoops you have to jump. The other day I had to write a proposal to get permission to write a proposal for a financial statement. Okay, so to the government I had to write a proposal to a proposal. So there's a lot of hoops you have to jump for financial stuff. I understand that very well. And as Mike was saying, maybe a little more openness, you know, you could tell people that kind of stuff, what you're doing. Yes, it is moving. Everybody said, yes, there's things moving. It doesn't just happen overnight. I understand that, okay, right? Very well, I understand that. I'm doing a project right now that's worth millions of dollars, and it's going to take 5 years to complete it. And so with the fiscal problems, I guess maybe be a little more openness, and maybe say, you know, tell people, okay, we're working on this, or we've got the grant, okay, what would you like to do? Something like that. I know they have to jump grants. Wanda used to look for grants all the time. She was pretty good at it. And maybe have somebody designated just to look for grants. Maybe hire somebody part-time or whatever just to look for grants, a summer student even, maybe put it onto the school project, if you will. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Hi, Cindy. Would you like me to review the questions? So what are the biggest fiscal challenges in our municipality, and what do you envision as a best way to address them?
Okay, so we're talking about revitalizing downtown, we're talking about revitalizing our population. In order to attract new business, in order to attract new people, it's going to take investment in infrastructure, it's going to take investment, and that does cost money. But if it brings people in, there's more people to pay for it. There's more people, there's more business, there's more activity, and that kind of just reaching forward and saying this will pay off, and making sure that we are not too far gone to not reach revitalization before we see the results. That is something that I could see as an issue, but there's been a lot of progress. I mean, when I moved here in 2015, people said this was a great place to raise a family, and we bought a house, we're moving in, we're raising a family, we're here. There's proof that this revitalization is happening, and let's continue that while we have the population base, business base to grow.
Thank you, Sylvia. What are the biggest fiscal challenges in our municipality, and what do you envision as the best way to address them?
So I think the biggest challenge would be getting the most bang for your buck, be it whether you're grading a new road or refronting the town office, for example. I think reaching farther out beyond our means, like just in town for other options for building and fixing our infrastructure would be great. And trying to save some money while we're spending our money, I guess, is the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Repeat that.
Yes, I will. What are the biggest fiscal challenges in our community, and what do you envision as the best way to address them?
Well, I think the biggest fiscal challenge for almost every community is getting provincial grants and money and stuff, and fighting with provincial government, because to build your infrastructure, local taxation will never fix all the roads. Like, we do have a fair amount of money in reserves, but that can be depleted pretty fast if you don't get money from the government. And so that's always a challenge. And really, to fix that is just try to keep on lobbying politicians, I guess, provincial politicians, to, and convince them that what we need is important. So I guess that's about it.
Thank you, John. Hello, Kevin.
Hi. Okay, the biggest fiscal problems that we have is the roads. It's not just roads, it's also the sewer and the water lines. All have to be updated and fixed, and it's extremely expensive. When I first saw the figures, I couldn't believe that any town could afford that. Yes, we can get grants from the government, from the provincial and even federal sometimes, like we did with the sewer, and they can do get stuff done easier with the money, obviously. It has to be done piecemeal. You can't expect to get the whole thing done at once. We don't have the money for that. We have to build the money up and get the costs together, get the designs together, get engineers in, and so on. And so it would take time to do all the roads again in Bassano. We can't rely on doing all that with the taxes. You couldn't afford it. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Last question. Please share your thoughts on what innovative projects would enhance life in this area.
John touched on that a while ago. I mean, we have plans to revitalize the downtown. It's all in our municipal development plan and in our urban, in our land use bylaw that we made. I mean, we just passed it. It's going to open up so many opportunities for so many people in town, especially the people that have maybe corner lots and stuff like that where utilities are on both sides of the street. People will be able to put a garden suite in their backyard or build a unit over top of their garage, do all that kind of stuff, and it'll help them to move an elder in with them, let their children maybe they're growing children, maybe they're working here, maybe they don't want to live at home, but they don't want them living at home, but, you know. And there's just so many opportunities, and along with that comes the Business Innovation District downtown that we've planned. We got all planned out, and we do plan on revitalizing the main street. And when we do that, of course, there's going to be, the public will be, most definitely be involved in that. We've got some ideas that we're certainly going to throw them out to the public when that comes time. Fifth Avenue is our first one on the agenda as far as the construction goes, because that's underground, that's the worst one we have. And then that's where all the main stuff goes to the hospital, to the school, water lines, sewer lines. They're in bad shape. We've got some sewer lines and water lines in town that go from 8-inch to 6-inch to 4-inch, and all in the same block. It's crazy. So that kind of stuff needs to be fixed up. So that's the plans that we have, and they're well underway, and people just have to talk to us to know what it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Morey. Hi, Bentley.
I've often thought, I think Bassano, if there was one more business, whether it be a factory, what have you, 20 to 50 families, I think that's all we need. I'm kind of stuck on keeping Bassano close to where it is, because that's what we fell in love with. Like, I like the small town. I like being able to walk outside and hear nothing. I mean, not a sound. It's beautiful. I mean, there's something really great to be said about that. I mean, when I moved here, it took a long while. Yeah, it always feels like, oh, nobody likes, there's guys that, there's the clique, and there's the townies, and all of this and all of that. But I think the best thing you can do is accept that, you know, you're here, your choice. You know, this is your town, these are the people. You're not going to agree with you're not going to agree with everybody anywhere. Like, I mean, there's going to be people. That's what makes Canada great. We're allowed to talk, we're allowed to say. We're not always going to agree. But we don't always have to disagree either. We are on the same team. You know, that's what we're playing for. Make Bassano. You know, we want to keep what we have, number one. We don't want to be in debt. We don't want to raise taxes. None of us can afford that now. I mean, we can't count on our government. You hear other municipalities talking about, well, them not following through on their promises, right? The provincial guys are famous now. I mean, until that gets changed, I don't really know how you can bank on anything, you know? I mean, there you are. I mean, 20 to 50, there's a grain thing, I don't know much about it. And then there's also some mystery thing that nobody talks about, but they all say, oh, wait till you see what's coming. Well, I'm kind of tired of your surprises, guys. Let us know what it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Bentley. Mike.
I'm gonna make you read it.
Please share your thoughts on what innovative projects would enhance life in this area.
I don't know that we need to enhance anything. I think we just need to maintain what we have, you know, keep the town from declining. Growth would be great, but nobody wants to live in a suburb. We don't want 10,000 people here. Everybody that's moved here has moved here for the small town. We do need the jobs, we do need the businesses. I'd like to see more small town community kind of stuff. You know, we've got several empty lots downtown. I would like to see maybe a spearhead of, as long as they're empty, let's open them up in the summer. Let's have a small farmer's market, as you will. Brooks Farmer's Market does amazing. You know, I've been there several times and it is always busy through the peak season. I'd like to see something like that, something to draw people in, to actually bring them back into town. There's a lot of people that visit town twice a year. You know, they don't need to. They live at the halfway point, they go do shopping in Brooks. There's nothing to actually bring them into town, to spend their money into town unless they have to. And I'd like to find little things like that to bring people back in, you know. I've been to Pickberry Farms outside of Strathmore. I've been to farmers markets in Canmore. I've been to all these little small town feel things, and I think Bassano has kind of lost a little bit of that. We have the parade of garage sales, which does great. You know, it brings a lot of people out, it brings everybody together, but I think we need to bring back some of the small town stuff, the farmers markets and things like that. And I think as long as the town has properties that are being unused, I think that's a great use for them throughout the summer. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. Tim?
Yeah, read it again, please.
Please share your thoughts on what innovative projects would enhance life in this area.
Okay, well, I've always enjoyed, like we've had, say, car shows or some kind of festival downtown or whatever, they blocked off downtown. A long time ago, they brought a fair in town. There was a Ferris wheel downtown before. Okay, set up by the town hall, by the old town office, down by there. That kind of stuff, like maybe, we can't do it with COVID right now, but maybe a little further down the road, we could look at, bringing a fair here even, doing that kind of stuff. They had the poker run this year rather than a car show. The poker run was fine, but I still would have liked to see a car show. That brings people out of their houses. A poker run, just a handful of hot rodders and, motorcycle guys. Instead of doing that, let's, maybe open up the doors and have people come downtown again, as everybody's been saying. People have got good ideas. Mike said a farmer's market and stuff, and bring things into town, get people out of their houses, if you will. That's kind of what needs to be done. Everybody needs to get out of their houses. I know we got COVID now and nobody gets out, but there's been more and more people out. Like I said, the kids were all walking around. I thought that was pretty cool when I heard kids laughing at night. I think we need more of that.
Thank you, Tim. Sydney.
All right, Tim and Mike, you guys have taken the words pretty well out of my mouth. More community stuff going on. In terms of innovative, when I was trying to bring the daycare into town, I heard that this was a multi-generational problem. But now there's a licensed facility in town. That opens up a lot of economic opportunity. It allows me to go to work every day. And I know that my son is looked after. I know that he is learning. I know that he is not being put in any danger, and I get to go to work. And that's huge for a town. Not many towns our size have a daycare. They have a collection of moms who work out schedules between them. We are incredibly lucky. And I want to build on that. And with community events, farmers markets, maybe edible gardens in some of those vacant lots downtown, where all these kids that have been out and about, well, they don't have to go home for a snack. They can go pick some raspberries. They can grab some blueberries or something and sneak some vegetables and fruits into their diets. And same with all of us adults too. We need them too. And stuff like that, and just get the community together. Get us all out of our houses, get us together. Safely for COVID right now.
Thank you, Sydney.
Hey, I'm good this time.
Sorry?
I'm good this time.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a couple of pet projects that I have been kind of researching and looking at before I even was nominated to become a counselor. One, I work at Crawling Valley in the summer, if anybody knew that. So I drive the back way out of town a lot to get to work. There's a lot of people who utilize that as a walking path, and the shoulders are very narrow, and it seems very dangerous to me. I would love for this town to have a decent walking path. If you drive through Milo, I think it is, they have the most beautiful walking path. It goes around the farmers' fields, and it is just amazing. I think we could do something like that. My second pet project would be income-based housing. I know that this would take a lot of lobbying for provincial and federal governments, but renting a house in this town is next to impossible. I rent myself, and I am holding on to that with every single ounce I have, because finding another rental is hard. I think if we were able to have a municipally funded couple sets of houses for families or seniors, because basically we focus on seniors here, We need to focus on the growing families as well. The people with 3 kids, 2 kids, whatever. Larger houses, but income-based. This has worked in several other municipalities, and it's basically you keep yourself in that 30% bracket. So, so people aren't paying too much. I did the math. I myself am in the 32%, so I'm a little high, but I know that some of the rentals in this town are a little bit higher than what I pay. I'm fairly fortunate. So those are my 2 projects, and I think they're very innovative, and I think that they would do this community very well. Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn.
I have already discussed downtown business innovation with live work and stuff, and I think that's a very exciting thing. Hopefully people buy into it. But another thing that I've thought about for quite a while, like when people talk about walkability, but all the way around town, if you go First Street, First Avenue, 10th Street or whatever it is in front of the building center, 5th Avenue, except for by the hospital, and then on 5th Street up to 9th Avenue and over, none of that has sidewalks. In our bylaws, it is possible to just paint a line along the side of the road and have a bicycle walking path where vehicles aren't allowed to go. And you can have it all the way around town, a dedicated lane, and it would cost very little money. And I think that would be very workable. So it would just cost a little bit of time and paint. So, and yeah, there's so many things that we've been working on too that are fairly innovative. Like we're talking about large lot residential across the tracks and stuff, where by the acreages south of the tracks, and you know, developing acreage style lots and stuff out there too, and that could be good in the future too. So, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Well, walking paths are pretty much been discussed, but I agree with the people who brought it up. Decent internet, I think, is important. If we want to develop as a town, we can't have people coming into town and finding that the internet is not suitable for conversations with the companies that they work for and so on. So I think a decent internet is important to us. The third one I have is there is a problem with people, older people, who don't have transportation, getting to Medicine Hat or Calgary for doctor's appointments and so on. I think it would be a good idea if the town was to buy a van-type vehicle that can take wheelchairs and then get volunteers to drive the vans for people that need to go to appointments out of town. They can get to Brooks now with the bus, so that's not too bad. But getting to Medicine Hat is difficult. That's, I guess, my 3. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. I'd like to thank you all. I know these questions were tough questions. You all did very well, in my opinion, anyways. I appreciate the time you've taken to come here to be, here for everybody. And I would like to thank everybody for coming as well. It's been a great turnout, in my opinion. I really appreciate it. Thank you.